Did you see this TikToker completely dismantle and obliterate you? 400K views.
The political streamer Destiny doesn't believe the Gaza death tolls, and he says, is there a single non-Gaza source confirming 500 dead? And this is a tweet about a hospital in Gaza that got hit with a missile strike. So why would there be a non-Gaza source reporting on Gaza? Gaza's an open-air prison. It's blockaded in. How is somebody who's not inside of Gaza supposed to report on the church that blew up inside of Gaza? Are you waiting for freaking Ireland and Japan to report on the number of dead people in Gaza before you
I'm totally obliterated.
stand up for the Palestinians? No, at this point, I don't think anything would get Destiny to stand up for the Palestinians. All he's done is conflate the entirety of Palestine with Hamas, downplay the Israeli missile strikes on the Palestinians, and smear and attack any popular voices like Hassan Piker who are standing up for Palestine against genocide. You have no
What? Okay.
no idea how Hassan's fan base lives with themselves? I could say the same for your fan base, dude. You speak on these issues like you're in a
Why does he where do these pictures come? Is he gonna post baby pictures of me next? What the fuck?
authority or an expert, but you don't know the history of the colonization of the people of Palestine and the seizure of their land. You don't know about the Nakba or the calamity where 75% of them were pushed into refugee status. You've never read Norman Finkelstein's Gaza, an inquest into its martyrdom, or Ghassan Kanafani's Palestinian Children, or Edward Said's The Question of Palestine. How could you take the time to read those books? You play video games all day and run your mouth. Does anyone truly think this guy can wrap his head around the oppression and the trauma that Palestinian children are experiencing right now as Israeli missiles are raining down on them? And this is a major problem with all political streamers. Like, when I wake up, I feel like I owe it to you guys, the audience, to be educating myself, to be reading, to try and learn something so that I have something valuable to share with you all. These political streamers like Destiny, who are probably just in it for the money, don't feel that way. They just like to play video games and talk shit. So when an issue like Israel-Palestine pops up, it's really obvious to the people who are educated how ignorant these folks actually are. They just speak confidently and it gives them an air of authority. But they should really set down the video games and pick up a damn book.
Just True. How are you gonna get a non-Gaza source to report on stuff happening in Gaza, dumbass? Anybody else want to smoke on that D-pack?
I'm really fucking surprised about the, like, double standards on the left when it comes to a lot of the Israel-Palestine shit. So, like, one thing is, like, so they'll take the word of Hamas as if it were, like, gospel. They'll listen to them, like the hospital bombing thing, like, hours after it happened, Hamas claimed 500 people were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Way too soon for anybody to even confirm. And again, that was directly coming from Hamas.
Yeah.
Yet they'll, like, criticize, you know, the Israeli government and basically almost all the mainstream media that supports, you know, an Israeli narrative, even though they have independent fact checkers. Israel itself has a free press, and they're a democratic society, and, you know, they're part of the international community. They can be sanctioned, yet, like, somehow
Don't be a
they're
person who
more
can't speak up during assault and
untrustworthy.
tell him no.
But they'll also, like, criticize, like, fucking Trump supporters for just believing, you know, like, everything Trump says, or Fox News or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really exposed, and I'm, like, shocked and surprised that, you know, the Young Turks, they're not quite as bad as some others. Like, Sam Cedar, Majority Report, holy fuck are they horrible. Kyle Kalinske, I think you already knew, like, you already had the stance that Kyle's a retard.
Well,
But
hold on.
my
I'm
God.
you know, me and him are we're chill now, but go ahead.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I don't know.
My
I
bad.
haven't actually seen any of his commentary on on the Israel-Palestine stuff, though, so I don't have any opinions about that. He might be really bad on that. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
he was supporting the hospital bombing narrative. He's supporting like the stupid idea of collective punishment. He's also supporting this idea that there should be an equivalent exchange. So like if 1,500 Israelis are killed, like only 1,500 Palestinians should ever be killed. It's just crazy. It's just baffling to me how bad the left is when it comes to like they're just as bad as the right. And it's just a massive shock to me just how many left outlets are just garbage. I can't watch Sam Cedar anymore. I can't watch Young Turks anymore. I can't watch Kyle Kalinske. It's just ruined the whole, like, every news source that I regularly, watch.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a couple of media moments where a couple of other people, even on the left, have kind of felt that way. This was kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with who Anna Kasparian is, but she's also had kind of this moment where she feels like some of the reporting double standards are very noticeable, and it's bothered her too. So yeah, there's a little bit of a thing going on right now where I think people are starting to realize that maybe they gave in a little bit too much to the very, very far left people that are kind of pushing media and online culture in a certain direction, and that a lot of the people are not really anywhere near as principled as they kind of claim to be. And as people are seeing that, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of a shake up in terms of how people approach that.
I think it's really like shown to me that you absolutely cannot trust any single media source, and none of them are trustworthy.
A little bit. This is something that I would say, and I'll suck myself off, and I'm sure there are a couple other people out there. I think that I noticed a lot because I'm thinking, because I got a debate with Ben Shapiro next month, and I'm thinking about strategies and everything. Here's something that I've thought about quite a bit. I think you should be really careful with anybody that identifies themselves. This sounds so cringe, but anybody that identifies with like a political orientation or party, I think you have to be very careful with it. Because something I notice is that like when I'm doing research, I have the flex. I can take any position I want. So like I'm going to do in the next 2 days, I'm going to do a lot of research on Israel-Palestine. I'm going to start doing a lot of reading. But I realize that like as I do that research, I can take any position I want. Like it might be at the end of my reading, and it's starting to feel, I might become like a full-on Israel simp. But it could also be that I do quite a bit of reading and I'm like, you know what? Actually, Israel's done a lot of bad shit. I think that like something more severe needs to happen because this doesn't work, right? That punishes Israel, maybe. But I have the flexibility to do that because I don't strongly identify with a certain political party. But now, like, imagine if you're a decently intelligent person. Imagine if you're Ben Shapiro, right? And you're like pretty smart, but like you're the head of the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro could literally get, the 10 commandments from God saying that Palestine is 100% in the right on everything, and he could never say it, right? Because he's like politically beholden to a certain side. So, and then same thing with like the Young Turks, same thing with any kind of like political entity. If you're strongly aligned with a certain political party, and that's what your fan base is, or your viewers or your listeners, you kind of are sort of beholden to that political ideology, and you kind of have to stay there no matter what. Yeah.
So you're saying a lot of these people might feel pressured to have a certain take.
Yeah, because you gotta figure, bro, if you say anything positive about Israel, depending on, especially online, depending on what outlet you're on, that's really rough. You're about to get a ton of pushback on that. It's gonna be really hard. So, that's like my guess.
Me personally, like I don't care, but I can understand how that would affect other people.
Yeah.